Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, this is the Blue Heaven Podcast. Almost. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? My name is Clint. You can find me as RealFRG on Twitter and Instagram. That gentleman right there is the one, the only, the legendary, the delicious Doug McCain, DMac_LA on Twitter and Instagram. Doug, how the hell are you doing? It is 3 sleeps. Is it 3 sleeps till opening day? Let's go. That's what's in.
Clint, I'm doing better than great. We have Dodger baseball this week, regular season Dodger baseball at Dodger Stadium. The dog days of spring training are coming to an end. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, it's a special week at Dodgers Nation. And here at 110studio.la, if you guys want to, if you need to make like a podcast, there's video stuff, there's audio stuff, everything you need here, visit 110studio.la. It's .la, not .com, .la. And you can learn more about working in this fine establishment. But guys, I'm not here to hawk a podcast studio to you. I'm here to talk about Dodger baseball. We are going to do a Dodgers news dump. Talk about every little thing that's going on with the Dodgers right now. Speedy game times is the big thing. Dodgers finally came home to Dodger Stadium. Game was really quick. Kershaw talked about it, so we'll talk a little bit about Kershaw's words, and then the annual NL West preview, probably a little bit of a National League preview, but mainly NL West preview. We got more stuff coming up this week. Dodgers analyst Jose Mota coming in the studio, so you're going to have a super mega preview with him coming up on Wednesday, so make sure you guys are staying tuned. Subscribe, youtube.com/Dodgers Nation TV. Hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. All that kind of stuff really helps out the channel. And it justifies Doug's existence.
It does. It really does.
Basically. And let us know you guys are representing Dodgers Nation tonight. Drop it in the comments. Let us know your area codes. You got any questions, comments, concerns? Let's get into some of the comments here. What do we got?
He said, the kids are back. That's from Matty Man Dodge. We got DKM opening day is almost here, and I want to see some mariachis. Yeah, that's fire when they do that. We got Noah Cameras. Let's go. Eric, beautiful blue love day in LA. Sal, over on Facebook, there will be plenty of 3+ hour games. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Very interesting topic currently in Dodger land. We've got back-to-back Nate saying, stop with the that's what's in. Hey, that's a classic, okay? We got Matty Man Dodge says, oh, yeah, what are you saying?
It's still, we're still not out of the old season completely. So
yeah, we say it ironically. I mean, come on.
I mean, it really does.
But yeah, I mean, fans are stoked. I mean, we got Go Blue. We live blue. We got high chance that Outman is named the starting center fielder. That's from Michael Carrillo. Yeah, we'll talk about that. James Outman hitting a dong in his first at-bat at Dodger Stadium, changing his number to 33. We'll get into that as well. Josh, get ready for Thursday. Can't wait to miss 3 innings just to grab a beer.
Great comment right there. Absolutely. I mean, that is kind of the big topic out of it. Feels like Sunday's game was absolutely an outlier, but it was a tough first game to have all of that coming together for the first time at Dodger Stadium under the new lights, under all the blah, blah, blah. So let's look at some of the new lights and let's talk about the Dodgers news. But before we do, here's the incomparable Noah Cameras with a commercial for you. Look at that. Look at that beauty.
Do you love listening to podcasts but don't know how to do it in your car? It's easy. First, make sure your phone's connected to your car's Bluetooth or has an aux cord to plug in. Next, open your podcast app like Apple Podcasts or Spotify and search for the podcast you want to listen to. Once you've found the podcast, hit play and adjust the volume on your car's audio system. And that's it. You're now listening to your favorite podcast in your car. No more boring commutes. Listen to your favorite podcasts in your car. Enjoy the journey.
Such acting prowess from the great Noah Cameras. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Noah Cameras for a bunch of great Dodgers and Lakers, I guess, thoughts. Are we calling them thoughts? Thoughts for your thoughts? All right, let's talk about the huge news. We did know last time we were live on Friday. If you missed that show, Noah just told you how you guys can listen to it. It's on Bluetooth. We can be in your car's ear holes and all that kind of stuff. But yes, James Outman is on the opening day roster. We talked enough roster last week. The other thing is, yes, the big news, Miguel Vargas made it. Dave just forgot to tell him, apparently, which is funny as hell. But Andre Jackson does get that final spot in the bullpen, which, I mean, there was nobody better, quite literally, that was healthy in of the available pitchers. But it's a great great opportunity for Andre Jackson.
Yeah, big opportunity for him. And yeah, I think it's a funny story about Miguel Vargas. And really, that just tells you how much confidence they had, that they just thought that, hey, you're just a guy now. You don't really not on the fringes of making this roster. But yeah, this roster has really been structured like we thought it was a week ago, and everything really came and has taken shape. And now it's just about getting on the field. But yeah, Andre Jackson, a great opportunity for him. I think he's going to excel. I think the changeup, the fastball is going to definitely play. And I think that he's definitely what this team needs as far as the flexibility as a guy that can make some starts later. He can also come out of the bullpen, give him some multi-inning relief. So, yeah, really excited for him.
Yeah, he's built up to 75 pitches or so. And to start the season, you need that because one of these guys throws up a stinker. You know, they have, 6 games to open the season before a day off, 5 or 6 games. So you don't want to completely, blow your bullpen load right away to come out the gate. But the Outman news, the huge news, on Thursday, he will no longer be number 77. You already talked about it, but give the people more. And I want to know your favorite number 33 of all time. In Dodger Blue.
Yeah. So James Outman, of course, that was kind of the news last night. And then we talked about how when you really choose that number, right? And he's had so much success with double-digit numbers. Went from 55 to 77, now to 33. So that's kind of the reason behind that. And I think it's big for James Outman because, one, it establishes, hey, I'm a dude. I'm here to stay. As far as my favorite, first of all, I know who Roach's favorite 33 is of all time, and that
Scotty Van Slyke.
Our guy, Scotty Van Slyke. But yeah, I mean, I remember when we first got Brian Jordan. I was really excited about that because I would watch all those Braves games on TBS. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize this, that Roy Campanella actually wore 33 for his rookie season in 1948. But yeah, hopefully he can become another legendary number 33 Los Angeles athlete, maybe behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So
and other legends like Jason Grabowski, Ricky Leday.
I
love me. Hey, the Jason era was a terrible era for Dodger fans, but it's fun. Sometimes you got to go through the heartache before good things happen. Like hopefully.
How about
James
this?
Outman.
Gary Ingram also wore 33 at one point, and he also hit a home run in his first major league at bat. So there's that connection. You have Blake DeWitt. I know you like Blake DeWitt.
Oh man, everybody loves Blake DeWitt. August 20th birthday.
Just do it.
The only reason I know that is because a friend of mine who wanted to bang him, that was her birthday too.
There you go.
Story time.
Good times.
And it's cool.
Eddie Murray, Eric Davis.
And it shows like big leaguers don't wear number 77. Let's be real. 33 is a big league number. And it's cool that he was able to get it. Last worn by David Price. So I guess Outman's gonna have to start paying for minor league salaries at some point or something like that. But it's gonna be cool, and you're gonna see that officially on opening day. He still will be wearing 77 tonight and tomorrow, Tuesday, for the final spring training game. It's not really a Cactus League game, but for the final
Dress rehearsal.
Yeah. Final dress rehearsal in Anaheim, Anaheim, if you will. But we already talked about it a little bit. Opening day-ish happened at Dodger Stadium on Sunday. The dress rehearsal there. A lot of dialogue coming out of that game. It was a very fast game. Kershaw was dealing. There's new lights. I know there's some opinion online. I share the opinion of the people online. The game broadcast looked very dark with the new LED lights. What is your take on the lights first as we go through these things slowly?
Yeah, I think the lights, that's going to take some getting used to, because for me, what makes going to see a game at Dodger Stadium special is those wedding gown white Dodgers uniforms. And they pop, they're really bright. And with it being darker, it felt more like theater lighting. I remember a few years ago at Staples Center, remember what was called Staple? That was like 15 years ago, when
those were the days.
They switched to that theater lighting, where and the only thing that was lit up was the court. Kind of reminded me something similar to that. But yeah, I mean, to me, that one didn't bother me as much. I think when you look at LA and Tinseltown, they're trying to create that stage, and I think people will get used to it for sure. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, we like to complain about anything, any changes. That's what we do as a society. It's complain, and I wanted to complain a little bit about the lights. I'm sure it's also still the first time they're playing. I do agree with the white jerseys. It'll pop a little bit more than them spring training blues. But the pitch clocks are a massive point of topic. But there's also new food. We got to talk about the new food real quick. I put out an article about that. They have a whole bunch of new food. So shout out Dodger Stadium chef Ryan Evans getting all the good eats there. But apparently, as you would expect, some people were having some trouble at Dodger Stadium with the food. waiting in lines. Things aren't going to be quite 100% dialed in yet. And if things aren't perfect at the concession stands, I guess what, the pitch clock and the short games, now we're in game talk, the short game talk, 2 hour, 8 minute game talk. People are going to be pretty upset about that. So let's talk lighting, or not lighting. Let's talk pitch clock again. 2 hour, 8 minute game. Kershaw, kind of, he had some words about it and kind of joking, but at the same time doing what Kershaw does. He's like, he doesn't want to be like, I don't like this. He's not trying to create a headline. But how fast was that game tonight? Here's a Kershaw quote. That was nuts. It's getting what we want. The game was what, 2 hours and whatever minutes. Hopefully they sell enough beer. And that's kind of like my jumping off point. I did a whole, it started out as Kershaw's words, but then I went off on a rant in an article today. Check it out, DodgersNation.com. Hey, while you're on the internet, subscribe here. But are fans getting ripped off?
I mean, look, I think when I watched that game, I think first thing the fans need to realize that that's not normal. It was a 3-0 game. It was a spring training game. You had shorter commercials, and that was 2 hours and 8 minutes. So far during spring training, the games have averaged 2 hours and 41 minutes. But for me, I was watching that game, and I went to get a Coke Zero, and I come back, and it's like the 9th inning already. I mean, that game was faster than a rumor at a junior high school. I mean, that thing was just lightning quick, and I think it just didn't feel like the baseball that we've become used to in the last few years. I mean, we've been accustomed to seeing a game that really is the timeless game where you have a lot of tension building in between pitches. You have a lot of really just downtime. Now, I think as far as a viewing experience, though, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the urgency, the fact that it did feel like a crisp, kind of swift pace to it. So I liked it. But if I was a consumer and I paid a hefty amount of money to get to a Dodger game and I show up and it takes longer to find my car in the Dodger Stadium parking lot than it does to actually watch the game itself, then I think I'm going to take issue with it, because a part of the baseball game that's kind of separate to a Lakers game or a football game where you're always just locked in and zeroed in on the action on the field is you do have those sidebar conversations. You do enjoy things in the crowd, whether it be hitting a beach ball or the wave or just kind of all the little intricacies that make baseball unique. I think the faster the game is going to take away from that just a little bit. And the first thing that popped into my mind is every time you hear a great story from Vin Scully, and it always felt like Vin Scully knew the perfect amount of time to get whatever it may be, whether it be the history of beards when he's talking about Justin Turner. Would we know as much Vin Scully stories if he broadcasted in this era where you have a shorter time span in between pitches?
I mean, they know, or they say we know, some of the elderly folks watching the game, like myself, I'm elderly, but the older folks watching it a generation past know the games were shorter back then. They have become longer with more commercials and all the BS and hoopla going on. But, Vin was able to tell the stories back then, but I agree I enjoyed the era of really letting the stories kind of eat. And it was Vin. He was a master of the game. Let him tell his stories with some foul balls and all that kind of stuff. I know one of the things you had asked Tim Neverett at spring training, people keep talking about the players getting affected by this, but what about the broadcasters? And that's kind of what he told you, right? Was like worrying about like when to tell a story, or if him and Rick Monday are in the middle of something and the inning's just over. Like, oh, I guess that's the end of that story now.
Yeah, and that's why it's the most difficult sport to broadcast, because when it's hockey, you're just doing the action. Football, the action. Basketball. Well, part of the what makes baseball such a beautiful game is we learn so many unique things about these players, their backstory and everything that's in between. But yeah, I think the biggest thing I want to see is, look, if you're going to have traffic. That's the reality of Los Angeles, right? There's traffic. It's going to be difficult to be in your seats by first pitch. I mean, if I'm dropping a bag on tickets and I'm getting into my seat in the second or third inning, then I want to go get a beer, a hot dog, and then I miss an inning and a half. I mean, I think there is a point where the consumer is impacted. So, look, back in the 70s, earlier in Dodger baseball, you had later start times. You had 7:30, you had 8 o'clock start times. I think that's what I would push for if I were the Dodgers, as far as kind of catering to their fans, because it's an experience.
And I think some people, some fans, some families would not be okay with that, but for the greater enjoyment of the game and getting butts in the seats on time, I agree that would be the better play. Like at the earliest of 7:30 game time here in LA, it's still bright and sunny and beautiful all season long. Essentially, you're going to be in a good spot if you show up 20 minutes later, or the game starts 20 minutes later, and potentially, get people actually, because Kershaw even talked about that. Somebody asked him, like, when are Dodger fans going to arrive now? The old adage of Dodger fans arrive in the third, leave in the sixth or whatever. He's like, I don't know, fans might get here in the sixth inning. And then he was like, oh, I better backtrack on that a little bit. But yeah, fans are paying more than ever for tickets for a family to get to the ball game. And it just feels like a lot of opportunity at the ballpark is being taken away from them. I'll say, like, us covering the game, this is glorious. Like, the beat writers absolutely love this, because either way, the game can last 4 hours or 28 minutes. You're still doing the same job. It's just the amount of time that you're going to be there, be stuck there. So there's a lot. And I'm seeing some of the discourse here in the comments. There is some back and forth on it. Like, Coach 714 here on YouTube says the pitch clock is the best thing they did in 15 years. Matty Man 5 Dodge says they'll come to a happy medium in time and enough complaints. Kershaw did mention too, is like, I think there's going to be a lot of frustration when it's a big moment. You got a runner on second base. It's the seventh inning. The game is on the line, and you get a pitch clock violation. That's going to be a thing. But that's the violation side. That's going to be another whole issue. If we're talking about fan experience right now, that's another whole can of worms.
But that's a part of the fan experience, right? I went to a game where Kershaw had a pitch violation and it cost the Dodgers the game. I can only imagine what it would have been like if Kenley Jansen was having a difficult time adjusting to getting the ball out quicker, shortening up his routine. If he lost the game on a pitch clock violation, there would be hell to pay for the California adventure. But I think that as a product, to me, that's what I'm focused on. And the bottom line, that what it comes down to is what is best for the overall growth of Major League Baseball, and it is shorter game times, because that makes it a more digestible product, which hopefully will continue to build fans, especially in future generations. And that's what it's all about. That's why Major League Baseball wants more action. That's why they want a shorter game. But look, the reality is, like, if I asked you, said, hey, do you want less Dodger baseball? I don't think anyone would say no. But the reality is, it's just kind of tightening things up in between. It's not like they're going to 7 innings or anything. Yeah,
that's the hard part of it. It's like, it's literally the same amount of baseball. Yeah. Each team has their 27 outs, and if we're going into extra innings, it's going to be the same amount of outs that would have happened in that inning. It's just everything else in between, which is absolutely a lot of fluff. But I think everybody watching the game, I think on TV, media, like I said, there's the only people getting hurt by this is people paying gobs of money to go to the ballpark. And you're saying you're going to miss at best a half an inning, but probably an inning to go take a piss and then get a beer and a Dodger dog or whatever. I love Kershaw saying that. Hopefully they sell enough beer. Like, this is going to directly impact beer sales or concessions money, because beer is turned off in the 7th inning or whatever. They decide that people can't drink there because of drunk driving laws or whatever. But
no, I think, look, I would feel really good right now,
bureaucrats.
If I no, exactly right. No, look, the way to fix this is this. One thing they should do, and I've proposed this to the city of Los Angeles for years, is we need a Dodger lane around this entire city, where it's just a lane where if you have tickets to the Dodger games, it gives you a direct route into Dodger Stadium. You avoid that traffic, but also the concession guys, the Roger Owenses of the world. Hopefully they send more concession guys down those aisles, so people, they don't always want to go and wait in those lines. So yeah, I am thinking about it from the fans' perspective. I'm thinking about it from the league's perspective, and I think people are going to adjust, and it's going to be a known thing. Hey, if you got tickets to the Dodger game, you better tell your boss you're leaving a few hours early. You better leave a little earlier. You better get in those seats. But the natural thing is, Dodger Stadium, even if you get there earlier, it's not conducive to getting in your seats quickly. So that's going to be a struggle, and it will be a topic.
Fans need to watch your parking guide. That's what it is. All of the tips and secrets you need to get to your seat on time. Hosted by D. Matt Kane over here.
A is for Void.
A is for Void. The greatest parking guide in our generation. Hey, shout out producer Noise by Noel, that fool Neil over there, reminding us that. Hey, turn on your headset there. We're gonna put you on the screen. This is one of our. Oh, that's the wrong button. This is
what
he's on the screen now. This producer Noel. Hey, we got the free Uber coming up for opening day, right?
Yeah, we do.
What are all the details on that you remember or that you know?
All I know is that we love covering the Dodgers over here, and they want to look out for us. So they're gonna hook us up with some free Uber rides. Make sure we go catch that first game.
So check it out. We'll have an article up on the site about that. If you're drunk at the game, they don't want people to get in accidents at Dodger Stadium and coming from Dodger Stadium.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's particularly for opening day. So the details will be on DodgersNation.com. But there is the legendary Noel. You guys know him from the TikTok and all the other places. And he's got a giant. He has a giant taco salad behind him right there.
Indeed. Back to y'all, man. Back to y'all.
Back to you in the studio. Look at that throwing. Put him on the spot.
What is it called again?
Those are the easy.
The foam runners.
The foam runners. Yeah. It looks like if you took a pair of Crocs and put in the microwave and you microwaved it, you get the
anyway. All right, let's get into more of the comments here. DKM says, now I got to buy food early or maybe just everything before the game. I don't want to go back to my seat and see it's already over. There was a comment we had on DodgersNation.com. Check it out. We're on the internet. But somebody called the radio post-game show, and they were, a few people were complaining about it. Said several people said they lost 2 innings to either going to the bathroom or getting a Dodger dog. One fan said they gave up because the lines were too long. 2 hours and 8 minutes is too quick of a game. 2.5 hours should be about the minimum in this person's opinion. I agree. Yeah, 2-8 is an absolute outlier. We even had some games, in the regular era that short. It was just bad that it happened to be this first game.
Yeah, that first game, I think anyone that went there was a little shocked. But hey, if you look at the way soccer games are, if you go to any Premier League soccer game or anything like that, you'll notice that the stadium is literally completely empty 2 minutes before the actual game starts because everyone's getting their drinks, getting their food. And then once the game starts, people stay in their seat for the entire game. So I think that's where you're going to see it more is people will stay in their seat for longer. I think they're going to find a way to be more efficient with the concession guys going up and down. But yeah, I mean, no one wants to miss a lot of baseball action. Also, too, you think about it from the home field advantage standpoint, too. With the Dodgers, they're one of the few teams in Major League Baseball. I mean, they drew almost 4 million fans last season, and having butts in the seats, it creates a better atmosphere, gets that adrenaline going, and that definitely is an advantage for the team. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because we know at the end of the day, no one is better at maximizing their dollar than the Dodgers. And if the Dodgers see a decline in beer sales, if they see a decline in food sales, they're going to find a way to try to circumvent this in some capacity. I'm telling you, man, they're going to have guys up and down the beer salesman guys.
They
up and
really
down
need to bring
nonstop.
those people back because they've reduced the amount of people going up and down. And I understand that there's kind of still this whole COVID thing existing. It didn't just magically go away, so I can understand. But what's the difference between going there or standing under a concourse where there's less ventilation? I'd rather grab some other guy's weenie than have them go grab it from the concession. Wait, what? Wait, hold on.
Wow.
Talking about the hot dog, Dodger dog. Great. Now we're demonetized. What do you got? Oh, we got a what's it called? We got something in here. I'm seeing pointing. What do you got?
It looks like we got a super chat.
Let's go!
There we go.
Where is it at?
Where is that thing?
Oh, I see it right here. I got you.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you right here.
Cool,
Mr.
cool.
Rasa Jr., 23. Appreciate you as always. What up, fellas? Been missing the BH podcast live due to work. We need a DoorDash type of service at the stadium. # Go Dodgers. Mr. Rasa, appreciate you. Love the hell out of you. They tried to do something like that.
Yeah, they did.
At one point, and I think it was a massive failure.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. All the logistics of it, but yeah. I don't think it's gonna be. It's gonna be something where I think you're just gonna see people get the games earlier, and they're gonna just know. I mean, there was a time when they didn't have the 7th inning cutoff for beer sales, right? And then people adjusted. People are gonna know and do what I do. I mean, just have one big tall can that gets you wasted and torched anyway.
You're a big time double fister. What are you talking about?
I'm a pretty big double fister. Chuck McCain.
Chuck McCain here. Thanks for rocking with us. But anyways, there are all the thoughts on the game times, and it's going to be a work in progress. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up with like a 3-hour game on opening day just because of how much dialogue this whole thing cost us in the first preseason game or whatever. But let's move on. We got to talk about the actual season, about the National League West, about the Dodgers trying to either retain that NL West crown for the, what would it be, 10th year in 11 years, 10 of 11? Is that where we're at? I don't know. I'm bad at numbers, bad at math. But
that's right.
Dodgers didn't do as many moves as the Padres, as people well know. So I wanted to break it down a little bit with you. The MLB.com put out their final preseason power rankings. Padres are number 3 on that list. Dodgers are number 4 on that list. And of course, you have everybody's pretty hard on the Astros still. Just they are coming off a World Series, apparently a lot more legitimate than the last one they won. Allegedly. Elsewhere on the list, Giants are at 20, Diamondbacks.
That's kind of place.
Diamondbacks at 21, and the Rockies all the way down at number 28 in the power rankings, which feels about right. But give me some thoughts. We just want to go down. I think we should do this in order of the alphabet, which is made out of numbers and words.
That works.
Talk Arizona. Let me know. They're 14-14 so far in spring training. We don't put too much stock in spring training numbers and results, but what do you think about these Diamondbacks? What can fans expect out of the Diamondbacks in the NL West?
I think the Diamondbacks are going to surprise some people this year. To me, they're the National League's version of the Orioles, where you have some top-end talent coming through their system. Corbin Carroll,
he's the guy Corbin Carroll,
fastest guy in the league. I mean, he was dominant, really, in his cup of coffee last year with the Diamondbacks, and he's a guy that he's going to be a star. There's no question about it. And you look at the front of their rotation. You have Zach Gallen, you have Merrill Kelly. Those two guys, they're solid, but after that, it drops off pretty significantly. Their lineup, I mean, I think it was pretty interesting that they signed Longoria. They traded for Kyle Lewis. If you look at some of the other moves they made, I mean, I think Ketel Marte is a guy that is always going to be solid at the top of that lineup. So I don't think they're going to be a bottom feeder by any stretch. You also have that third wild card team. So if they can get close, maybe they make a run at the postseason, and there's a lot of people excited down in Arizona. So I don't think they're a contender. To me, it's a 2-horse race. There's no question about that between the Padres and the Dodgers. But Arizona is going to be a pesky team that's going to win a lot of games that some teams won't be. They are going to shock some teams with how many games they're going to win. I mean, I like the move. I mean, you got Loris Gurriel, Josh Rojas, Christian Walker can go deep.
They made the big trade when they sent Varsho away. That was good for both teams, to be honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think...
As I derail you for no reason, sorry about that.
Oh, no, I mean, no, I agree 100%. I think for a lot of fans out there, they're wondering, so what are these Diamondbacks doing? Are they looking to rebuild and tear it down, or are they going to try to win now? And you bring in some veterans, and just because you think that, they're not going to be World Series contenders, veterans can help some of those younger guys. And they're a team that needed a bat that could hit against left-handed pitching. That's why I thought Justin Turner actually made some sense for the Diamondbacks. But, they're young, they're exciting, they're building, but I think they're building for 2024, and they're not going to be contenders for 2023. I think Zach Gallen is someone who, if you look at the last third of the season, last half of the season, him and Julio Urias really were the two best pitchers in the National League. I think he's a guy that could vie for the NL Cy Young Award. Galentine's Day is big time down there in Arizona.
They have some intriguing pieces with Gallen, with Merrill Kelly, who was, of course, a kind of one of the Team USA aces because no pitchers wanted to pitch for Team USA. Madison Bumgarner still exists. He's old now. And he hasn't been great in a while. He's had a good spring, but didn't put together a fantastic year. Last year, ERA just under 5. But really, the big one is I think this team goes as far as Corbin Carroll takes them, because that dude is the rule changes are conducive to him being worth every penny of that extension he got.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he doesn't win the National League Rookie of the Year. I think Miguel Vargas is going to surprise some people and make a name for himself for the non-Dodger fans out there. But Corbin Carroll is electric. And you look at this team, you mentioned Madison Bumgarner. He's basically been a bum for the Arizona Diamondbacks. By the way, fun fact, he actually dated someone named Madison Bumgarner at one point. Go look it up if you don't believe me. And look, to me, this Diamondbacks team, they are a 78 to 82 win team. Yeah. And that's something you feel good about if you're Arizona, because, look, you're saying to yourself, we can allow our young talent to develop. We can allow some of these other guys to try to make strides. We can develop guys to trade and flip for pieces as well. And then you let the Padres and the Dodgers duke it out, and they know the Padres aren't sustainable. So, I mean, I think the Diamondbacks 2024 and beyond, they're going to replace the Padres as the top contender in the NL West.
Hot take.
Other than the Dodgers.
Still, hot take.
Hey, I'm just saying they got talent.
No, it's a good team. I think the biggest thing that's going to hold them back is pitching, is relief pitching in particular. But they also signed, I think you mentioned it, if not Evan Longoria, like you said, bringing that veteran leadership there. If Ketel Marte can get back to what got him his contract extension, it's an intriguing team, and it's a team that you wouldn't be super surprised to see them be better than the Giants in the NL West, or possibly even challenge to get as good as second place. Everything would need to go right for this team. But with the talent, with the names they have, Christian Walker has a good season and drives in a bunch of dudes, and Carroll really establishes himself as as the rookie of the year front runner that he probably is. He's going to score a bunch of runs. It's a good looking team, but probably not better than the Dodgers and the Padres.
That ain't happening.
Moving on, Colorado. Not very much to say about the Colorado Rockies as usual. They're going to be a bad team. Like I said, 28th on the MLB power rankings at the moment. Is that too high?
Yeah.
They are a terrible, terrible team. The Chris Bryant trade keeps looking worse and worse. I don't know. Say something good about the Colorado Rockies. It's their 30th anniversary. The patch looks nice.
I mean, to me, they're going to be the non-competitive Colorado Rockies this season. I think they probably win under 70 games this year. I think really stands out to me is they didn't make one free agent signing. And Chris Bryant, he wasn't healthy. He didn't have a great year. He was supposed to be a guy that was going to lift them and really try to help them improve. And look, I mean, what I'm looking at is German Marquez is a guy that a lot of teams out there will be very interested in. He's not your top 10 to 15, 20 guy, but I mean, a lot of people have that Colorado curse, and most people, their career trends upward when they leave Colorado. Just ask my boy Yency Almonte, right? So, yeah, I think they're a team that they're just not going to be competitive. I mean, I think they're interesting. I mean, Freeland is a guy who also is an interesting name too, but
it's just so hard to exist as a pitcher and have to pitch in Colorado 81 times a year. Not that they all pitch 81 times a year, but
yeah. And also too, I mean, like tough. I think it kind of just, I mean, Coors Field, of course, is a circus, right? I mean, it's the worst place. I mean, I like the DMV more than I like Coors Field, but
every year we go there and some Dodger pitcher gives up 16 runs in a game and somebody has heart issues or whatever the hell happens. I hate everything about Coors Field with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing too, if you're Colorado, is it's tough too. I mean, if you looked at last season, they're a team that's kind of stuck. I mean, they're stuck in the basement, and they're really a bottom feeder in this division. And they are seeing the Diamondbacks improve with their young talent. They haven't been able to have that same level of success. I mean, look at that roster. I mean, it's a lot of guys that, I mean, the Moustakas, Castro, Jones, Connor Siebold, Pierce Johnson, Brad Hand. I mean, the names on that roster are really, I mean, for a team that is going to lose probably 90-plus games, yeah, it's definitely something that I wouldn't be excited about if I was a Rockies fan for sure.
Moving on, who's next up in the letters? We're going to skip the Dodgers. We talk about them a lot. Let's go to San Diego, and we'll give a quick preview because we are going to end this segment with our predictions, our NL West predictions. Sarah Morris already beat us to it. She's got hers. Friend of the show in here says National League West will be Dodgers, Padres, D-backs, Giants, and Rockies. It looks like a good pull. Looks like maybe that's how I might do it too, but we'll get more on that in a little bit. Tell me about these Padres.
So, of course, the Padres, that's the sexy pick. I mean, I'm calling them the paper champion Padres because everyone wants to give them this division. But to me, it's like the Dodgers are Coke and they're Pepsi, right? Pepsi because you don't have a Coke, right? I mean, everyone wants to go with this trendy next generation. And look, don't get me wrong. Their 1 through 4 is ridiculous. So, to me, once Fernando Tatis Jr. comes back, I think he's a guy that can hit 40 home runs in a season. His career high, I mean, they're projecting hits around 37. So he's a guy that's going to lift them. And I think what I'm looking at, too, is so you can point out the positives, right? Xander Bogaerts, he's fantastic. And that was a great signing by them. He had 307 last year.
Guy you were very high on this offseason.
I mean, Xander Bogaerts I thought was a very interesting name because I think anyone can use his bat. Yes, defensively, that's not why you sign him. Defensively, he leaves a lot to be desired, and especially with the restriction on the shift, you're not going to be able to put him in spots where you can make it easier for him. But he had 307 last year. He is a guy that can easily have an 800-plus OPS, hit 20 home runs. I think Xander is going to be big, the X-Men. But I think Juan Soto is the name that we know is a superstar. And last year, he had 236 with the Padres, but I think he's going to have a monster year. I see him having OPS 950 to 1,000. I think he hits 30 home runs. If you look at his hard contact numbers last year, his career low BABIP, he is ready to break out to another stratosphere. So Manny Machado, too. I know a lot of Dodger fans have their issues with Manny Machado, but look, he's a guy that has grown up before our eyes. I mean, he was a boy with the Dodgers. He's a man. He's a man. Manny, the man Machado down there. And I think what really impresses me is, remember when Bob Melvin had that meeting that really lit a fire under them? Manny Machado is the guy that organized the meeting the next day with the players. They really just crystallized everything they talked about, and he's truly the leader. To me, he's the heart and soul of that team. But after those 1 through 4 guys, you don't have a crazy amount of depth. There is not a lot of margin for error.
Yeah, well, the depth part is the scary part. And it's kind of the same issue with the Dodgers. If you keep everybody healthy and on the field, the Padres are and they're gelling the way you would expect. The Padres are a very good team because you add in Nelson Cruz, who can always find a way to get some runs in. We got our boy Ha-Seong Kim, probably going to be hitting 9th for the team. Jake Cronenworth, an all-star, is their first baseman now. They finally rid of the terror of Eric Hosmer and Will Myers. I mean, it's a good-looking ball club, and then you mix in. I mean, defense is going to be tough, especially in the outfield, because Trent Grisham, they say, is a good outfielder. He's won a Gold Glove. I've also seen him boot plenty of balls. Shout out his Brewer days. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is just a bad outfielder.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Defensively, he hasn't just found that spot. But, we'll see how he responds. Of course, the PEDs. You can't spell Padres without PED. And he's going to be back. And I think you mentioned Trent Grisham. It was interesting to see him break out early on the postseason. But last year, he hit 184. He didn't have a hit in the NLCS. You mentioned Ha-Seong Kim. He improved a lot, the Ha-Seong Kim chance out down there in San Diego. But he's a guy that his opportunities are going to be more limited now. Of course, you have Jake Cronenworth. You're going to have Xander Bogaerts. Cronenworth is a guy who his numbers, his production level has gone down. He had 17 bombs last year, all to right field. But I think if you look at this lineup, yes, it's a big 4. There's no question about it. But from a depth perspective, you look up and down that lineup, it's not very deep. They're really not that deep. And that's, to me, what separates the Dodgers versus the Padres, is the Dodgers, they have the depth down in the up-and-coming players. How about this? You know the crazy stat? Here's a crazy stat. They don't have one the last homegrown position player?
It's been so long.
The last homegrown position player that made the All-Star team for the Padres was Tony Gwynn.
Bruh.
The last homegrown pitcher was Jake Peavy to make an all-star team.
I didn't know it was Gwynn on the position player. That is absolutely
You compare
insane.
that to the Dodgers, Miguel Vargas, James Outman, young players are coming up. Gavin Stone, I think, is going to have a big impact. So this Padres team, we'll see. Also, I thought it was an interesting addition of Matt Carpenter, who's going to be playing the outfield. He had an 1138 OPS.
As I was saying, the outfield for that team, it really is Grisham covering a lot of ground. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I think lineup-wise, they're definitely stacked at the top. I don't think they have the depth that the Dodgers have, but still, if those 1 through 4 guys rake, they'll find contributions. They'll be fine when it comes to scoring runs. Now, another thing, too, that I question if I'm going to poke holes in the Padres is that starting rotation. Because, yes, there's a lot of really solid quality. You got Darvish.
Yeah, it's laden with number 2, number 3 guys.
Yeah.
Which is great to have.
It's great to have, but does that play up in the postseason? I mean, we know Darvish, if he's on, he can be virtually unhittable. And you see some of those other guys.
I just really want to throw it out there. That's not a diss on the Padres. You would love to have 5 number 2s instead of 1 number 1 and 3 4s, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're in a good spot, and they have some dudes that can come up and help along the way. Morahone isn't even in the rotation at this point, and they've been off and on about whether or not he's going to be somebody that's in there. The Michael Wacha signing was pretty intriguing because it sounds like they're going to go 6-man rotation for a good part of the year, at least to open the season. But anyways, I keep derailing.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
absolutely. No, that's a great point on the Morhome, because he's a guy that has an electric fastball that hasn't really completely realized his potential. But I think Joe Musgrove is a guy who's really solid. We've seen him improve.
As long as when he knows how to use his kettlebells, he's solid.
Use those kettlebells, get that sticky stuff off his ears, the shiniest ears. Great control. That cutter's really taking him to a whole new level. And then when it comes to high variance and a big wild card, how about Austin Barnes' son, Blake Snellzilla? I mean, when Snellzilla is on, that slider is wicked. It's filthy. But he's only pitched 130 innings once in his 7-year career. So he's not a guy that you can. I mean, think about where he is at from his age standpoint. He's pretty much pitching the same amount of innings as Clayton Kershaw is in his current state, right? So, yeah, I question the back of their rotation. I mean, Lugo is a guy that could play up for them. I mean, Nick Martinez is a guy that I think is a solid sleeper pick in a sense as far as his ability. I mean, but I just don't. I mean, look at they don't have the upside that the Dodgers potentially have with their younger pitchers.
Yeah. I mean, the Dodgers are if all was the way it was supposed to be, you wouldn't be having Pepio. We wouldn't be expecting very much from Stone this year. But hey, we haven't even mentioned Bobby Miller. But those are 3 dudes that are kind of the depth. Like I feel very confident about the Dodgers starting pitching, and I think the Padres are like one guy away from really just throwing off their entire game plan. This great comment here, by the way, Mr. Rasa Jr. 23. The Padres are Pepsi Zero. It works even better because we're a Coke Zero family.
Exactly, CZ. But yeah, another point I want to make too, Clint, was that look at some of these players that signed with the Dodgers this offseason. You got the Noah Syndergaards, the JD Martinez's. Jason Hayward said the reason why he went to the Dodgers because he was the first team that called. Well, players usually get better when they put on that Dodger uniform, whether it's a aging veteran that's trying to get his career back on track or it's a young prospect trying to realize his potential. The Dodgers get 110% out of their players, whereas the Padres, you don't see that same level of development. Are they truly going to maximize the talent that they have? That's another question I have. And I know I probably sound like I'm being a Homer Simpson on this and I'm hating on the Padres. I think the Padres have the potential to win the World Series. I absolutely do. But if I did have to poke holes, this is the areas that I would look at. Because Preller, he loves brand names. He loves star power. But it's about building on the margins. And if you want to talk about their bullpen a little bit, Josh Hader, a lot of fans had the Haterade when he was struggling early on. He really found it. I mean, he tweaked those mechanics. He got back to his dominant self. I think that turns out to be a really nice move for them. And then we saw Suarez. He
got hurt, by the way. He's opening the season on the IL officially today. Drew Pomeranz. We don't know when he's ever going to be alive again. Craig Stammen just retired. There are some issues there in the bullpen, but when you're able to anchor it with Hader, who's coming off of that big resurgence, he had a great 4 months as a big leaguer last year, and then turned to diarrhea for a couple of months, and is a free agent after this year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's playing for something.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I like their bullpen. I really do. I think their bullpen as a position group.
I would not be surprised to see Seth Lugo end up in the bullpen at some point, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't been a full-time starter since 2017. And also gives them that dimension with the curveball, too. So
96 wins, over under.
Ooh, that's a really good one. It's the Padres. Something always happens. Right?
I mean, we know how good they were supposed to be in.
I think if I had to predict, I would say like 96 on the dot. But I'm going to just go ahead and just have to say under so I can root against them all year.
You guys heard it here second, folks.
But to me, they look like a 96-win team.
Let's see. We've been bad about the comments here.
Here we go. I like this
Noah
one.
says Padres get low 90s wins. What do you got?
Oh, I saw Danny Duffy
Pomeranz is equals Danny Duffy. Great one there by Benny Mad Dodge. Joseph Babatata? Akuna Babatata says, sorry, I butchered your name, but I tried. Joseph says, hey, we're going to rake this here. Anthony Keene, our friend, says, we all know a San Diego team ain't doing a damn thing. Ooh, hey, I didn't say it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Let's see. I'm trying to look for some Padres specific. Mike Lerma says, payers took a pay cut to play for the Dodgers. Padres overpaid. The Padres have been paying a lot of money. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Peter Seidler there, but I want to work for him because he's just like, hey, you showed up today. Here's some money.
No,
you exist. Yeah. You could be here for 6 more years. How old are you? I don't care.
And it's so short-sighted too. It's so short-sighted.
Yeah.
They know that it's pretty unlikely
Yeah, he's
that they're
very
going to be
nice.
able to retain Juan Soto, right? And they think they might have a chance at Shohei Ohtani. But we know that in baseball, it's the names that aren't the big-time names, or else the Angels would have won a couple World Series, right, with the Mike Trouts and the Shohei Ohtanis. But the Padres realized that this window with their franchise, it's not a big wide one. It's not like but that same token, the Dodgers, they get that one World Series during that stretch. So really, if they can go and they win their very first World Series title, it will all be worth it to this franchise. I just don't see it. I mean, I think they're a team that could very well win the NL West, and that lineup could be one of the most ferocious 1 through 4 that we've seen in the history of the game. But yeah, I do have my doubts about the overall construction. And to me, when it comes down to dominant starting pitching too, I mean, do you really trust that Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, and Blake Snell to just take you through an entire World Series run? I mean, you saw last year the Astros had better contributions.
Snell's kind of done it. I mean, they've all kind of done it in different ways, but not all the way through. Musgrove maybe, but he wasn't a huge part of that Astros team in 17 that at least I can recall. I like to block out the bad as best I can. But Snell, we've seen him dominate in the World Series until Kevin Cash, literally takes balls out of his groinal area, and Yu Darvish, if trash cans aren't being banged, who knows what kind of legend he would be in Dodger lore. So
There's been times too where it's been no soup for you at times during his career when he hasn't really found it. But also too that if they need to address something during the season, that farm system has been gutted.
That's the big one, right?
They
there.
gave away everything, right? I mean, that team has been gutted. So if they have needs they have to address, they're not going to have let's say a Corbin Burns gets heads to the market. Let's say a Shohei Ohtani becomes a player they want to shop. They don't have the assets for that at this point because they went all in. They took all that money out of that 401k. They used it up for Juan Soto. So that's another thing too. What you see is what you're going to get early on for this Padres team. It's not like they have a lot of the Gavin Stones down there. Guys are going to come up and have a big impact. So I definitely trust the depth of the Dodgers organization versus this Padres team. But I do think it's admirable. I really like the fact that they are not afraid of the Dodgers, that they are a mid-market that's spending like a big market.
Trying to slay the dragon back-to-back years. Let's go.
Trying to slay the dragon.
That is what is in, they say. A couple of comments here I wanted to point out because we're getting some love in here from Miguel Rojas, and I wanted to say, so we just a little bit ago filmed our bold predictions for the season. The boys here in the office, so keep tubed in for that, and we're also going to drop an article about it. But I was really close to saying that. Not that it's a huge bold prediction, but I think people are going to be incredibly shocked and surprised by how good of a season Miguel Rojas is going to put up for these Dodgers. I feel very good about where his mind is at. Like, we know what we're going to get on defense. It's elite. It's fun. It's sexy looking defense. But the bat's going to be there for Miggy Rowe. But I don't want to talk too much about that. You can talk to Jose Mota about more Miguel Rojas this week. I just appreciate the love in here that Miggy Rowe is going to be a dog. Rebecca saying it, and there was somebody else who said it. Seth Gribble said Miggy Rowe going to be a dog this year. Keep this as a receipt, and we will. He going to be good. All right, final one in the NLS preview. San Francisco Giants. They're 14-14, very mid so far this spring. Spring numbers mean nothing. What do you like? What do you hate about these Giants besides the fact that they're the Giants?
I mean, the Giants, they went big game hunting this offseason. They had Carlos Correa for 7 days.
Shot and missed.
They had Arson Judge for 7 minutes, and they thought the world had turned, that the Giants were.
John Heyman ran from the world,
He did.
including us at the winter meetings.
He's not going to be allowed in San Francisco anytime soon. But, yeah, this Giants team, it
Pees
told
a
you.
lot, by the way.
He definitely does. But
Anyway, sorry.
No, I think with this Giants team that even though they didn't make those moves, it told you what they were doing. It was a window, a glimpse into what Farhan Zaidi was trying to accomplish. Is one, to win, they needed another star. They needed an anchor like an Aaron Judge, like a Carlos Correa, but also from a branding standpoint, an entertainment value standpoint, attendance has been down up in San Francisco, unless they're playing the Dodgers when they fill up all those seats at Dodger Stadium North. But if you look at their rotation, Logan Webb, of course, strikeout numbers went down a little last year, but he has that elite ground ball rate, one of the best in the league, doesn't allow a lot of home runs. sinker, slider, pitch to contact. We saw the success he had in 2021. He's a top 25 pitcher, but after that, it's a pretty massive drop-off. You got Cobb, you got Sean Manaea. You got Ross Stripling and Alex Wood.
It's a rotation of 4s and 5s.
It really, there's no way to
solid
sugarcoat
dudes.
it.
I mean, Logan Webb is a 2, maybe like a 1B at his best. He pitches like a 1, pitches like an ace against the Dodgers anytime he gets that chance. But the pitching, it's filled with a lot of just randos.
No, absolutely. I mean,
Dude, just some Jags.
Yeah, and also, too, the success they were having last year, you had Carlos Rodon. From a strikeout rate standpoint, from a dominant standpoint, they had that horse. And he's gone. Ross Stripling is a guy who,
Ross
the boss Stripling. I mean, I think Stripling has really improved in the amount of how he's reduced that forcing fastball usage. You saw him use more changeup, but yeah, I mean, not a lot of plus pitches. I mean, I think when you look at this rotation, it's like a guy. I mean, they're showing up to this NL West, and they're definitely, right above. They're right above the Rockies. I mean, they really are. I mean, even that. I mean, if you look at the other elite teams around the league, you got Logan Webb, who, like we said, has established himself as like a top 20, 25 pitcher. But other than that, it's a big drop-off. It's like you show up to like a black tie event and everyone's wearing tuxedos and you're wearing like a Canadian tuxedo or you're wearing like a T-shirt tuxedo or something like that. I mean, they just don't fit in.
Shout out to my friend Hamilton on that one, by the way. He's a big-time tuxedo shirt guy.
Is he? Oh, I love the tuxedo shirt guy.
Anyway.
Good times. But yeah, and then you look at their offense, their lineup. I mean, I think I'm calling him Consolation Conforto because that's really what he was. He was a consolation prize after they weren't able to land some of their big fish. And he's a guy that if he's right, he absolutely can hit 30 home runs. He gets on base at a nice clip. And if he has a nice year, we know he's going to opt out and the Giants won't re-sign him. Then Mitch Haniger, I mean.
Yeah, that was a good addition. Somebody the Dodgers were looking at one point. He's got some pop, but inconsistent up and down career so far.
I mean, so many injuries. I mean, he literally had an injury where he ruptured his testicle. Okay, so
I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, his career's been nuts. So,
content warning.
I mean, but he was worth almost 4.
Got him.
He was worth almost 4 wins in 2018. So there's that. You look at that bullpen. There's another point I want to make about the San Francisco Giants. That bullpen, when it was so successful in 2021, they didn't get a lot of strikeouts. Even Dubon is like 28, is below average strikeout rate, right? Lots of ground balls. They really sacrificed strikeout for putting the ball in play, but inducing a lot of soft contact. So the bullpen isn't great. The starting rotation after Logan Webb is a giant drop off. And then lineup wise, they just don't have those pieces up and down that lineup. Even if they signed a Carlos Correa or an Aaron Judge, I think they would still have their issues. And look, Farhan Zaidi, we know what he wants to do. He wants to be a bargain hunter. He wants to go dumpster diving. And at some point, you collect a lot of these dumpster diving pieces. I mean, it's like it catches up to you. It really does. I mean, anytime you start the problem with collecting things is it's tough to turn it off. Right? I mean, you end up with like 5,000 bobbleheads, right? Just because you keep collecting and keep collecting.
Or like with the Giants, they have 6 or 7 outfielders they need to try to figure out how to play.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's none of them are exceptional, really. You only have one DH spot, and you know your best infielder is old man Brandon Crawford, who could still get it done, but they also just tried to push him off to the side to sign Carlos Correa. So you don't know where his mindset is at exactly.
Yeah,
it's not a great roster by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it definitely is not. I mean, we thought,
and it's looking more and more like that 2021 was just absolute magic, and every possible thing that could go right going right over 162 games.
No, absolutely. I mean, 2021, they were San Fluke Cisco. We know that at this point, and I don't know how many goats they threw into the bay or whatever they did in the cheating lab up in there. No, I'm just playing. But like this Giants team, I think they're really due for they need to build the way the Dodgers build, is where you're developing a pipeline of talent and you're seeing the success. But yeah, they need a star, and it was just such a huge blow because, like I said, they had Arson Judge for 7 minutes. I think the Carlos Correa move, I think a lot of people were clowning the fact that they basically pulled the rug on that, and I think maybe they could have dodged a bullet in the long run. But, yeah, we'll see. I think this Giants team, they're not going to contend. I think at the very best, they're going to be the 3rd best team in the NL West.
At the very best. That's a good point. Well, there's your preview. What do you got? You got something in there? There's a super chat. Did I miss a super chat?
Yeah, we got one.
Oh,
Shout
man,
out.
let's go.
Shout out the man, Kevin Uhas.
Kevin, I missed you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he gave us $5, and he wants to know if Gavin Lux doesn't bounce back from his injury over the next 2 years, what are our options at shortstop?
Oh, man. There are very few. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you, Noel, for reading that fine super chat comment.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're really banking on the fact that Gavin Lux can come back and produce. But, I mean, the reality is there's not those big-name shortstops out there, and there's really not going to be any of those big guys on the market. We know Willie Adames, of course. He's going to be a free agent after next season. Tim Anderson is going to be a free agent after the 2024 season. He has that club option. But, really, you're going to have to build from within. And, yeah, that's why I think this Dodgers team is going to probably prefer going a glove-first shortstop until one of those big names becomes available. And that's why we saw the Dodgers go after a Seager, and they didn't really have a chance with Trey Turner. But, yeah, Francisco Lindor even a few years ago, because they realized that the market was going to dry up pretty quickly. Dansby Swanson's got out to a slow start in Chicago. I still think that I'm okay with them not signing him to that deal. But, yeah.
I think there's also a reason why they extended Rojas already. Yeah, that was well before the Lux injury happened, but it was in the event a Lux doesn't work out in some way, shape, or form. We have this guy. He signed for 2 years after. I forget. Is it just the 1 year?
So 1 year. So basically 1 year.
So he's kind of the insurance in a way, but it's thin. Willie Adames, step on up.
Yeah,
we know the Brewers aren't good at keeping their guys happy over there.
Yeah, I mean, if they look, I think the thing with Willie Adames is the Dodgers are going to see how. Look, let's make one thing clear: the Dodgers, they benefited from the shift more than any team in Major League Baseball. They literally had the lowest BABIP in the league, had the lowest batting average against in the league from 2015 till now. And we're going to see, without that advantage that the Dodgers had, they're going to place value on defenders. So I think that's what you're going to see, and I think that's another reason why. Look, you look at someone like a Xander Bogaerts, a guy defensively was definitely trending in the wrong direction, but that's why I don't think they were very aggressive. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, shortstops are tough to find. They're almost like having a good quarterback. You definitely want a good shortstop out there, and hopefully Gavin Lux does come back. I think from an ACL injury at this age, I still think from a range standpoint, he'll be fine. I think for him, it's just proving that he can hit at the level that we all know he's capable of, and I think he can do that. So, yeah, it definitely gets dicey. I mean, I know a lot of Dodger fans in the past were thinking, oh, maybe Jacob Amaya could get his opportunity. I think defensively there's no question that he could have done it, but hitting big league pitching is just a different story. So, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's other names, too, that'll emerge.
Yeah,
and that's
there's a lot of time between now and next year somehow.
But yeah, I mean, Brandon Crawford. I mean, that's a name that's going to be a free agent. I
don't think that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, hey, UCLA guy, but there's just not that many names available on the market. So yeah, that's why it's a premium position, guys. I'm telling you, if you get a shortstop, you can find one, you can keep them. But on the same token, I mean, the history has told us that shortstop after the age of 30, their defense regresses, their offense regresses, and it's not the best position to give $300 million to.
The Dodgers are the best at maximizing bad shortstops. Right now, they have an elite shortstop, and I think
it's a great point.
I think Rojas can make up the ground that is lost with the absence of the shift, but we're gonna be kind of okay-ish with him for the next couple of years until they just grow a new shortstop.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, absolutely. And like
not
next year,
additive at all.
I mean, one thing I was thinking about too is if they don't bring back Max Muncy, which I think they will, because I think he's gonna have a really good year.
He's got to be a Dodger for life.
Yeah, he wants to be a Dodger for life. I mean, we talked to him about that extension. He was saying, "Hey, I hope for something that's longer than that." But let's just say, hypothetically, as a thought exercise, that they go in a different direction with Max Muncy. You could always either trade for Tim Anderson, sign Tim Anderson. If trade for him and then sign him, and then you can move Miguel Vargas to third. You could even put Gavin Lux at short and then Tim Anderson at second, where he played in the World Baseball Classic. So I think it'd be some mixing and matching there. But yeah, don't kid yourself. I mean, that is very top of mind for the Dodgers when it comes to who's going to be the shortstop of the future, and that's why they had a lot invested into Gavin Lux. And that's the one thing about this team. I mean, you can't foresee injuries, and that was a major blow to this team because they felt with full confidence that he could be that guy. But yeah, I mean, you know what's another name people talk to me about? They're like, hey, Doug, we should go get Javi Baez out there.
I've seen that, and I just tried to ignore that with like every fiber of my eyeballs.
Yeah,
whatever that means.
He has an opt-out. He has an opt-out. So
bro ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Paul DeYoung's another guy. He had put head for power early on. He kind of feels like a reclamation.
Give me one-legged Gavin Lux instead.
Yeah.
Lux is he's hanging out with the club, by the way. He says he's already.
I saw he's already losing, killing him or something.
Yeah,
right?
he's already losing his mind. So shout out to Gavin. Hey, he's gonna be in LA for all the home games. Maybe we can get him to crutch his way into the office. Finally, get that interview that we've been trying to get with him for the last. What you've been trying to get him for the last like year?
Hey, we got him on when he was coming out. He talked to us a little bit.
Yeah. And he also got him
not
after
the same.
he destroyed his knee.
Yeah, I know, right? Not the same vibe. Hassan Kim is a guy who has a mutual option.
But
for
you guys
the
really got him
season.
on this show. I feel like this is gonna be a dugout real soon.
Don't get the wheels turning on this kind of stuff, guys.
Bust out the rumor meter. What's that Dodger dog meter? How many Micheladas full are there?
I think you had the best take on it. Is that Gavin Lux is going to be fine.
He's going to be the guy.
And he's going to be the guy until further notice.
They're going to figure it out. All right, NL West. Hold on, I'm away from stop drinking so we can use this as a clip. NL West outcome. All right, one more take. NL West outcome predictions right now. So me, then you. I'm doing 5 through 1. This is how I think the National League West is going to shake out in 2023. Colorado's all the way down at the basement because they're trash. San Francisco, I don't think all those pieces fit together well. Could be wrong, but I'm going to put them in 4th place, which means Arizona. They got some intriguing bats. They got some intriguing little pieces in play there. I feel like Arizona can sneak up on some folks. People are going to be mad at me, but I want to play the underdog. Dodgers 2nd place, Padres in 1st place. That is my NL West prediction. I'm planning to win or to inspire because if the Dodgers get in 1st place, then I said that so they have bulletin board material, and I never look like the bad guy.
Wow. Hey, I respect it. Right? Look, there's a lot of great Dodger shows out there, but I don't think you're going to see anyone pick a team other than the Dodgers. So you got to respect. He's not trying to be Homer Simpson. He's giving you that real that objective take. So I appreciate that, Clint.
You're going to be mad at me.
Yeah. No, hey, and honestly, it's
really
good. If
second
you were
place
taking
is
your
still going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Still going to be in the playoffs.
We've proven that NL West crowns don't mean dickety. No doubt.
Shout out to Blackstreet.
Those diggity, but yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, they're a team that can absolutely win the division. But yeah, I mean, for me, I would go last place. We both agree, I think, to steal a line from Brad Pitt, who's the GM of the Oakland A's in Moneyball. Mm-hmm. There's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us. That is the Rockies in the division. They are going to be bottom feeders. And then after that, I'm going with, I really think the Diamondbacks are going to be the number 3 team. I really do. I think the Diamondbacks, positive mojo in Arizona. I think the young talent, you look at their rotation, the front of the rotation's good. The bullpen is solid. I don't think they're going to be the reason why they're a terrible team or anything like that. So I'm going to pick the Diamondbacks to be 3rd and the Giants 4th place. I got the Giants in 4th place. And then 2, I've got the Padres. I got the Padres. Look, you want to be the champ, you have to beat the champ in this division. We know the Padres, they haven't won the division since 2006. So I have to see it first. And I think that they're going to have a really nice year. I think the Dodgers are going to have a better year than most people anticipate just because it is an embarrassment of riches. We have gotten spoiled and jaded a little bit, but there's still tons of all-stars and talent on this team. So I still have the Dodgers winning the division. And I think the Padres and the Dodgers are going to...
It's a good pick. No, it's a good pick.
I just believe in my heart of hearts that this team realizes that it's still beneficial to win the division. You still want to set yourself up for success. And even though we've talked a lot about how, yes, 111 games doesn't necessarily translate to success in the postseason, but you still want to have as much success as you can, because if you're having success in the regular season winning games, that does mean that you're probably having success with young talent and you are having bounce back years from some of these players. So I think it'd go either way. Either the Dodgers win the division or they finish well behind the Padres. I don't think it's going to be a neck and neck thing.
The reality for me is, and I talked about it a lot last week as we kind of broke down the entire roster. Depth is outside of starting pitching. The depth is scary for me for this team for a little while. It's like yeah, if Trace Thompson doesn't work out, okay, you have Outman there. But if both of them don't work out, hey, guess what? Chris Taylor's not good right now, so you're not really being able to plug him in center and get a whole lot. If any sort of relief staff injuries happen over the first few weeks of the season, that's terrible. Like, Victor Gonzalez is clearly not quite a big leaguer anymore. And all of their best guys are going to be on the IL. You know, they're not going to rush back. Daniel Hudson, Jimmy Nelson does not know how to throw a strike for the life of him apparently anymore. And then that's kind of it. There's nobody else. Justin Brule is not going to be the guy who you feel confident if like Noah and I were talking about a little bit earlier today. Like if it's Evan Phillips, you're effed in the A. If it's Bruce Dar, you're in a pretty decent world of hurt. If it's Phil Bickford, you could probably survive a little bit, but there's some concern there. There's some massive concern there. As you get deeper into the season, it gets a little bit later. You're going to have some guys. Alex Reyes told us, at some point he's hoping. They're hoping for June, July. Beyond that, maybe a Blake Trinan, most likely not. Beyond that, maybe a Walker Buehler finds his way in the bullpen to end the season, most likely not. So there's just like, and by that point, you're in trade deadline. But
yeah, no, all of those things are definitely correct. And there's a lot of ifs, a lot of questions. But if they do struggle, they do have an ability to address needs. They can either go and tap into the trade market, or you have reinforcements on the way the guys come back through injury. Like you mentioned, not a lot of people talking about Alex Reyes enough. JP Fireeisen is a guy that can go in and produce later in the year. Walker Buehler, the young talent emerging. How about guys continuing to trend in the right direction? The Will Smiths of the world. So definitely, I like the talent on this team. I think it's better equipped to handle a postseason run, because I think that there is potential in these bats. Because look, there's a world where James Outman could emerge as a guy that, if he's an average bat, he's an upgrade to Cody Bellinger. And if you look at David Peralta, yeah, I think that is some guy that he's a guy that needs to prove that he can still get it done offensively. But look, I think the Dodgers, they have the formula in the regular season. They know how to win regular season baseball games. And also, too, a lot of tanking teams out there. And I just think this Dodger team, they go out there and they execute, and they know that winning in the regular season matters. So I still think this is the team to beat in the National League West. I know that you look at this Padres team, that's the trendy team. That's the different team. That's the team that you want to consider going with. But I think this Dodger team, they really have everything in place to at least win this division. I'm not saying that this team is constructed right now to win the World Series, and they very well could. I still would tweak the roster to win the World Series, but I still think you look at this talent. I mean, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are two top 10 players. They're debatably two top 5 players. I think Noah's, look, the thing too is, one thing I'm focusing on too is this rotation. Usually it's the second year when you come back from a Tommy John injury that you really start to get that steam back.
I like the rotation. I think that's going to be a strength for this team. But and the top of the lineup is going to be pretty damn solid, especially if Muncy is back to being, all-star, that funky Muncy, which I feel extremely confident about him doing that. I think I've said on the show already a few times. I think he leads the team in homers this season, and he's gonna feel real good. And we want him to do well because he's a friend of ours now. But
yeah, for sure.
And Will's gonna take another step forward. Like, you feel good about that, but again, like, outfield is a little wonky, but it's really the bullpen that scares me the most. I'm kind of excited to see David Peralta as a Dodger. Yeah, I think he can do. He can do some things.
Let's be honest.
You really hope that Miguel Vargas just keeps doing what he's doing. Just fly under the radar. Be good, not great. Be good, not terrible.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that his bat-to-ball skills, the thing about Vargas is people were pointing to some of his numbers during his cup of coffee last year, and yes, they weren't great, but his peripherals, as far as the hard contact, his exit velocity numbers, they were great. He hits line drives, he gets his bat on the ball, and I think he's going to have success. But also, I mean, can you, from an optic standpoint, can you really visualize a world where they lose to the Padres after winning just one game, after winning 111 games, and they're acting like this little brother label? To me, they're not even little brother. They're like a adopted cousin, like twice removed, something like that, right? I mean, they're not a little brother, anything like that. But I think this team is competitive. I think they have a lot of guys with fire, and they want to reestablish themselves as, hey, we are a team that is going to go deep into the postseason, and hopefully they play like they have something to prove. And I love the fact that you have this young talent that has to say that's still unproven. I think there's a lot to like about this team, whereas years past, everyone's role was pretty much set in stone. We knew what we were going to get from certain guys. Yeah. I think the variance and kind of the potential with this team makes it so intriguing. And I think Noah Syndergaard's a guy, like I said, for our fantasy team. Hopefully, I was thinking we draft Noah Syndergaard, and our fantasy team is Cinder Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you think? No?
Is that a no?
Cinder Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's a mid from Noah.
From Noah. Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna end the show here on a super chat because we got another one. Sammy Boy, Necrone99, aka Sammy Boy. I probably said that wrong, but $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you. Says CT3, KT3, FT3.
Ooh.
Some of those words we can't say on this show.
Wow.
Or letters. But appreciate the super chat. Yeah.
So should we get out on our wins prediction, though?
Oh, we're doing wins?
I mean, what do you think?
I don't remember what I said last time, but I'm down to change it. You go first.
Okay, I'm going to go with 97 wins.
Whoa, wow. I'm taking the under on that.
That's fine.
I think I said I'm going to stick with 93. I like 93 wins for 93. Your Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think the over-under is like 94.5, so
I'm taking the under.
So taking the under?
93 wins for your Dodgers. I know you want 87, to be honest, so they can go all the way.
Noah says 93.
You got 93?
How about you, Noel?
What? How many we got before we get out of here?
111.
111.
Come on, now. Come on. Run it back.
106. 106. So that makes sense. They did the double 106 with the 43 games in between. I mean, it's happened before.
You got it, man.
162. That's pretty bold from Joseph over on
85
YouTube.
wins from Keen. 88 from Bruce Davis. Yeah, both. But I just realized I said 93 and then you said 93. Hey, brilliant minds. Let's post at the same time on Facebook.
90 from Daniel
DKM
Lawrence.
says, are we going to opening day? He will be there. This guy will be covering from Dodger Stadium on opening day, so check it out. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. The spot you really want to see the good stuff on opening day will be on Instagram. So that's at Dodgers Nation on Instagram. Follow us at Dodgers Nation on Twitter. Adam says 111 wins. Daniel says 90 wins. Good one. Kevin says 92 wins. That's all we got.
Hey, this team's going to win a lot of games. But really 95 wins. 100 is like the new 95, right? So you're seeing win totals go up around the league. But, hopefully whatever it takes to win the division.
Whatever it takes to win a World Series. That's what I care about.
It's all about the 11 in October, right?
That's right. Hey, guys, appreciate you hanging out with us. As always, find us on the internet, DodgersNation.com. If you read stuff there, it keeps Noah and me and the rest of the people alive quite literally. We are a podcast that is called Blue Heaven Podcast. You can get all of our great content made by myself, by this guy, by Noah, by whoever makes the content here in the fine studio here at 110studio.la. We are on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere your podcasts are available for free. Again, we are on YouTube, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, tell your grandma, tell your grandma's cousin's uncle's friend. If they go to bingo, they could be watching us in the background. I am RealFRG on Twitter and Instagram. That guy is DMac_LA on Twitter and Instagram. Follow at Noise by Noel on all of the social spots because he's dropping fire all the time about all of your Los Angeles sports teams. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your super chats. Mr. Ross Jr., Kevin, the last guy whose name just escaped me right now. Who? Sammy Boy, there it is. There's too many names in there. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you. I think Noah and I will probably see you Thursday then for opening day pregame show. Okay, bye.